Success is not emotional, it's structural. Too many of us think success will come if we just want it badly enough, if we cry hard enough, if we keep begging for it. But the truth is, success doesn't care about your tears. Success doesn't care about how much you want it. Success doesn't even care about how much pain you've been through. Success only responds to the structure you build. You can sit in your room filled with passion, filled with energy, filled with desire, but if you don't have a structure to turn that passion into production, you will remain in the same place year after year. Passion without structure is wasting energy. Drive without structure is just chaos. You can run fast, but if you're running in circles, you'll never reach your destination. That's why you gotta understand, success isn't emotional, it's structural. Think about an architect. Before they build a skyscraper, they don't just imagine it and hope it stands. They create a blueprint, a detailed structure. They plan every floor, every wall, every beam. They calculate the weight it has to carry, the foundation it must stand on. Only after the structure is designed does the building begin to rise. The same is true for your life. You can dream about a skyscraper life, a tall and powerful vision, but without the structure, your dream will collapse. It doesn't matter how beautiful the idea is in your head. If there's no structure, it will never stand in reality. Some people think success is about hype and excitement. They get motivated for a week, maybe even a month, but then they burn out because there's no structure to keep them moving. Motivation will start the engine, but structure keeps the car on the road. Without structure, you'll be swerving all over the place, crashing into distractions, breaking down every time life gets tough. But with structure, you create a system that works even when you don't feel like working. You wake up at a certain time because the structure demands it. You put in the reps, not because you feel like it, but because the system is in place. You study, you practice, you build, not because emotions tell you that, but because your structure requires it. This is why some people with less talent win more consistently than people with greater talent. The talented person relies on emotion. I'll do it when I feel inspired. But the disciplined person relies on structure. I'll do it because it's scheduled. And in the long run, structure beats emotion every single time. Success is not given to the person with the loudest cry, but to the one with the strongest plan. It's not given to the one who says, I want it the most, but to the one who creates a system and sticks with it. Think about athletes. The world doesn't see their structure. The world only sees them on game day performing at the highest level. But behind the scenes, there's a structure. They wake up at the same time, they follow a strict diet, they train for hours, they practice plays, they watch film. That structure is what produces greatness. Without it, they'd be just another talented person who never reached their full potential. Structure turns potential into performance. And this isn't just about sports, it's about business, school, relationships, life. The reason some businesses grow and last is because they have structure, systems, process, clear expectations. The reason some students excel is because they have structure in their study habits, not because they're smarter. The reason some families thrive is because they create structure around communication, discipline, and love. Everywhere you see success, you see structure. Now, here's the part that stings. A lot of us avoid structure because structure feels restrictive. We want to be free. We want to do what we want when we want. But that mindset is exactly what keeps people stuck. The person who avoids structure is really choosing chaos. And chaos never produces lasting success. Structure is not a prison, it's a pathway. Structure doesn't lock you down, it builds you up. When you put structure in your life, you are telling success, I'm ready for you. I have the framework to handle you. Without that framework, even if success comes, you won't be able to hold it. You'll drop it because you weren't prepared. When you understand this, you stop chasing feelings and start building systems. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, and you create a schedule that guarantees progress. You stop thinking success will just happen, and you build a structure that makes it inevitable. The truth is, success is predictable. If you do the right things in the right structure consistently over time, you will succeed. That's why success doesn't respond to emotions, it responds to structure. A dream without structure is just fantasy. It feels good to imagine yourself at the top, to picture the life you want, to visualize the applause, the achievement, the freedom. But if there's no structure behind that dream, it will never come alive. Dreams without structure are like seeds that never find soil. They may look good in your hand, but they'll never grow roots. They'll never produce fruit. They'll never become a tree. Structure is the soil that allows the dream to take shape. It is the container that holds your potential and transforms it into progress. Every person you admire, every success story you've heard about isn't built on talent alone. It's built on structure, the system of daily habits that turn visible dreams into visible results. You can dream about being the best athlete in the world, but if you don't have a structured training plan, that dream will stay stuck in your imagination. You can dream about running a successful business, but if you don't have a structured strategy, budgets, marketing, planning, then you only talk about success, never experience it. You can dream about graduating at the top of your class, but if you don't have a structured study schedule, you'll keep cramming the night before and wondering why your grades don't match your dreams. Dreams require structure. Without it, they evaporate like smoke. Structure forces you to take your dream seriously. It moves the dream from a someday to eat. Too many people live in the land of a someday. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll lose the weight. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll write the book. Someday I'll change my life. But someday is a thief. Someday steals your years and leaves you with regret. The only way to escape a someday is with structure. Structure gives you a plan, a calendar, a system that forces you to act now. It breaks the dream down into daily actions, turning something overwhelming into something achievable. Think about it. If your dream is to write a book, the structure is writing one page every day. If your dream is to run a marathon, the structure is following a weekly training schedule. If your dream is to save money, the structure is creating a budget and sticking to it. The structure doesn't make the dream smaller. It makes the dream possible. Without structure, the dream is too big to handle. With structure, the dream becomes a series of steps, and each step brings you closer to the vision you saw in your heart. One of the biggest lies people believe is that passion is enough. Passion might ignite the dream, but it's structure that keeps it burning. Passion is the spark, but structure is the fireplace that contains the fire and keeps it from burning out of control. Without structure, passion fizzles out. You may feel excited for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but when the hard days come, when you don't feel like working, when distractions pull at you, only structure can keep you moving forward. Structure is stronger than motivation because it doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on the system you've created. Structure also creates accountability. When you have a structure, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. There's no hiding, no guessing, no pretending. If you set a schedule to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym, then when the alarm rings, the structure holds you accountable. If you set a plan to study 2 hours a night, then when the clock strikes 7, the structure reminds you it's time to focus. Without structure, you're left to negotiate with your emotions, and emotions will always try to take the easy way out. Structure doesn't ask how you feel. It directs you toward what needs to be done. Some people fear structure because they think it limits freedom, but the truth is the opposite. Structure creates freedom. A dream with structure is a dream with momentum. You're not wasting time deciding what to do each day because the plan is already written. That clarity frees your mind. It gives you confidence. You can rest knowing that every small action is building toward the big picture. Structure removes the stress of uncertainty. Instead of asking, will I ever get there? You can say, if I follow this structure, I will get there. That certainty is freedom. The difference between dreamers and achievers is structure. Dreamers talk, achievers do. Dreamers imagine, achievers plan. Dreamers hope, achievers build. And the tool achievers use to build is structure. Every great success story you ever read about has a structure behind it. Training routines, study plans, business systems, morning habits, financial discipline. They didn't just dream it, they structured it. And because they structured it, they lived it. The beauty of structure is that it doesn't just change your dream, it changes you. As you follow the structure, you become more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. You grow into the person who deserves the dream. Some of you are incredibly gifted. You've got talent that makes people stop and notice, but you can't stay consistent. You show up strong for a week, maybe a month, then you disappear. You get inspired, you hit the ground running, but as soon as life gets difficult, your rhythm breaks, your energy drops, and you fall off track. That's not because you're not capable. It's not because you're not smart or talented enough. It's because you have no structure. Chaos kills consistency, and consistency is the foundation of success. You don't create order in your life if you don't build a structure to sustain your growth. Then no matter how talented you are, you'll never reach your full potential. Think about the people who dominate in any field. They're not always the most talented, but they are the most consistent. They show up every single day. They don't let chaos dictate their schedule. They don't let distractions pull them off track. They create a structure that keeps them focused and disciplined. That's why they can produce at such a high level year after year. They're not waiting for inspiration. They're following a system. Inspiration might make you start, but structure makes you finish. Chaos, on the other hand, robs you of that finish line. Chaos shows up in many forms. It shows up in your lack of routine. You wake up at different times every day. You eat when you feel like it. You work only when the mood strikes. Chaos shows up in your environment. Cluttered spaces, wasted hours scrolling, constantly reacting to distractions. Chaos shows up in your mindset, always making excuses, always justifying why you didn't do it today, always convincing yourself you'll make up for it tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, and little by little, inconsistency eats away at your progress. That's why so many people start strong, but never finish. They've allowed chaos to creep in where structure should be. Consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, and doing the work anyway. Structure is the safety net that allows you to do that. Without structure, you'll always let your feelings run the show. One day you're motivated, so you work hard. The next day you're tired, so you do nothing. That back and forth cycle keeps you stuck at the same level. But with structure, your actions aren't tied to your emotion. They're tied to your plan. You wake up, you execute, you move forward, regardless of how you feel. That's how consistency is built, and that's how success is achieved. Imagine an athlete who trains only when they feel good. They might get a few good sessions in, but they'll never reach championship level. Now imagine another athlete with less talent, but who trains every day according to a structure. Day after day, week after week, month after month, their body adapts. Their skills sharpen, and they keep rising. Over time, the consistent athlete surpasses the talented one. Why? Because chaos destroys talent, but structure fuels consistency. The same truth applies to every area of life. If you want to grow your career, you need consistent effort. If you want to improve your health, you need consistent habits. How come on? If you want to strengthen your relationships, you need consistent communication. None of these things happen in chaos. They happen because you create a structure that allows you to show up repeatedly. Consistency is where trust is built, where momentum grows, where real progress is made. Without structure, you can't have consistency, and without consistency, success is impossible. Some of you keep wondering why your results don't match your efforts. You work hard for a few days, then you stop. You go all in for a short time, then you vanish. And then you're frustrated when you don't see progress. But success doesn't come to sprinters. It comes to marathoners. It doesn't come to people who show up sometimes. It comes to people who show up all the time. And the only way to show up all the time is to remove chaos and replace it with structure. You can't keep living in survival mode, putting out fires, reacting to every distraction, and then expect to achieve greatness. Champions don't operate in chaos. They operate in structure. They know what time they wake up. They know when they train. They know how they fuel their bodies. They know how they rest. They don't leave it to chance. That's why they are consistent. That's why they're trusted to perform when it matters most. The truth is, chaos will always try to creep in. Life will always present distractions, setbacks, and excuses. But when you build structure into your life, you have a system that protects your consistency. You don't have to think about whether or not you'll do the work today. It's already scheduled, already planned, already decided. That's the power of structure. It keeps you consistent in the middle of chaos. It keeps you moving forward when everything around you tries to pull you back. Some people think structure limits them. They think that by setting routines, schedules, and boundaries, they're boxing themselves in, they're cutting off their freedom. But the truth is the opposite. Structure creates freedom. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's not freedom. That's chaos disguised as freedom. And chaos always leads to regret. Real freedom is the ability to move forward with clarity, to wake up knowing what to do, to build a life that's not controlled by distractions or impulses, but guided by purpose. Structure is the tool that makes this possible. When you live with structure, you no longer waste time, energy, or opportunity. Instead, you create freedom to focus on what truly matters. Think about a musician. The greatest artists in the world don't just pick up an instrument and play randomly whenever they feel like it. They practice scales, they follow routines, they structure their time. It might look restrictive from the outside, but that structure gives them the freedom to perform on stage with mastery. The same is true for an athlete. Training schedules and strict routines aren't punishment. They're the foundation that gives them freedom in the game to play at their best. Structure builds preparation, and preparation produces freedom. Without it, y'all just guessing, reacting, hoping things go well. With it, you're confident, controlled, and free to perform at your peak. When you don't have structure, your life is dictated by your emotions. You work when you feel like it. You rest when you feel like it. You move when you feel like it. But feelings are unstable. They change moment to moment, day to day. Without structure, your life becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds stress. You might call that freedom, but in reality, it's slavery to your impulses. True freedom isn't doing what you feel like doing in the moment. It's having the discipline to stick to a structure that creates lasting results, raise you from the roller coaster of emotions, and puts you on the steady path of progress. Look at how structure affects time. Without structure, time slips away. Hours turn into days, days into weeks, weeks into years, and you look back wondering where it all went. Yeah. With structure, every moment has purpose. You know when to work, when to rest, when to invest in yourself, when to spend time with family. Structure protects your time from being wasted. It gives you freedom from regret because you know you're making progress each day. Instead of constantly feeling behind, you can move forward with peace. That peace is a form of freedom no amount of chaos can give you. Structure also creates freedom in decision making. Every day, people waste energy trying to figure out what to do next. Should I go to the gym today or tomorrow? Should I study now or later? Should I start this project or wait? That constant decision making drains you. But when you have structure, the decisions are already made. The schedule tells you when to train, when to study, when to work, when to rest. That clarity frees up your mental energy. Instead of wrestling with choices all day, you can focus on execution. And when your mind is free from clutter, you perform at a higher level. Another kind of freedom structure gives you a financial freedom. If you spend money whenever you feel like it, without any structure, you'll always be broke, always stressed, always chasing. But if you set a budget, if you build financial discipline into your life, you create freedom. Freedom to say, freedom to say, freedom to live without fear of debt. The same principle applies to your health. Without structure, you eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and it feels like freedom. But soon, that freedom costs you your health, your energy, your confidence. With structure, you discipline where you eat, how you train, how you rest. And that structure creates freedom in your body. Freedom to move, freedom to perform, freedom to live longer and stronger. Even creativity thrives in structure. Many people think creativity means no rules, no systems, just doing whatever comes to mind. But the greatest writers, painters, and innovators all had structured routines. They showed up at the same time every day to create, no matter how they felt. And because of that structure, their creativity flowed consistently. Chaos doesn't nurture creativity, it kills it. Structure gives creativity the space to flourish because it provides consistency and focus. Freedom without structure is temporary. It feels good for a moment but costs you later. Structure might feel hard at first, but it produces long-term freedom. The person who chooses chaos says, I don't want to be tied down. But in reality, they end up tied down by procrastination, tied down by poor health, tied down by financial stress, tied down by regret. The person who chooses structure says, I'll discipline myself today. Luck is just structure meeting opportunity. Too often people look at someone successful and say, they're so lucky. They think success just fell into their lap as if it was some accident or coincidence. But what they call luck is really the result of preparation built through structure. When opportunity knocks, it doesn't wait for you to get ready. It demands you to already be ready. That's where structure comes in. Structure is what ensures that when the moment comes, you're not scrambling, you're not panicking, you're not wishing you had more time, you're already equipped. Past success doesn't reward wishful thinking, it rewards preparation. And preparation is the fruit of structure. Look at athletes. When the championship game arrives, the crowd calls them lucky for hitting the winning shot or scoring the winning goal. Or was it luck? No, it was years of structured practice, repetition, discipline, and focus. Every early morning workout, every late night drill, every sacrifice stacked up until in that one crucial moment, they were ready. That shot didn't go in by chance. It went in by chance structure. The world only sees the highlight, the opportunity seized. What they don't see is the structure that made seizing it possible. The same is true for business. People say that entrepreneur got lucky. Their product went viral. But if you look deeper, you'll see structure. A structured business plan, a structured marketing strategy, a structured work ethic that kept them building when nobody knew their name. When the opportunity appeared, they weren't scrambling to figure it out. They had already built the system to carry the weight of success. That's why they could capitalize when the door opened. The person without structure misses opportunity, not because they weren't talented enough, but because they weren't ready. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to prepare. It doesn't send a warning. It just shows up. And when it shows up, you have two choices. You rise to the occasion, or you shrink because you're not ready. That's why structure is non-negotiable. If you live your life waiting for luck, you'll always be disappointed. But if you live your life building structure, you'll find that luck seems to follow you everywhere. It's not luck, it's preparation. It's being ready every single day, even when nothing seems to be happening, so that when something does happen, you're prepared to seize it. This is why some people seem to get all the breaks. It's not that they're lucky. It's that they've been living in structure so long that when a door cracks open, they don't hesitate. They step through. Others waste time complaining about not getting opportunity, but the truth is, opportunities come to everyone. The difference is whether you're prepared to handle them. Without structure, even if opportunity lands in your lap, you won't know what to do with it. You'll drop it. You'll waste it. You'll watch it pass by because you weren't prepared. Think about someone who dreams of being a musician. One day, out of nowhere, they get a chance to perform on a big stage. But if they never practiced, if they never wrote songs, if they never built structure around their craft, the opportunity won't matter. They'll choke. They'll stumble. They'll waste it. Now think of another person, maybe less naturally talented but structured. They practice daily, they write consistently, they rehearse with discipline. When the opportunity comes, they don't panic. They're ready. And because they're ready, the world calls them a lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. This is also true in academics and careers. The student who studies consistently, who builds structure into their learning habits, is ready when the exam comes. The worker who sharpens their skills daily, who shows up on time, who learns more than they're asked to, is ready when a promotion opens up. Others might say, if they got lucky, the boss noticed them. No, the boss noticed because structure made them stand out. Structure created confidence, confidence created trust, and trust created opportunity. Here's the hard truth. Without structure, opportunity can actually hurt you. Success without preparation is a burden. That's why some people fall apart when they suddenly get attention or success. They weren't structured enough to sustain it. They crumble under the weight because their foundation wasn't built. Structure doesn't just prepare you to seize opportunities. It prepares you to sustain success once you have. Without structure, success can slip away as quickly as it arrives. You can't predict when your big break will come. You don't know the day or the hour when the door will open. That's why structure is critical. It ensures you're ready at all times. It's like a soldier who trains every day even when there's no war, When the battle comes, they don't need to prepare. They are already prepared. Real success is not about winning once. It's about building something that lasts. It's about creating a system, a structure, a framework that continues to produce results long after the excitement fades. Anyone can get lucky once. Anyone can stumble into a win. But true greatness is measured by sustainability, by the ability to keep winning, to keep producing, to keep building even when circumstances change. And sustainability only comes through structure. If you want a legacy, not just a moment, you need to build a structure that outlasts you. Look at history. The most enduring empires, the most successful businesses, the most influential movements all thrive because they were built on structure. Without structure, they would have collapsed the moment leadership changed or adversity struck. But because of structure, clear system, clear values, clear foundations, they survive generations. You can't build a dynasty on chaos. You can't build a legacy on emotion. Only structure has the strength to stand the test of time. Some people are addicted to the thrill of winning once. They chase quick results, fast money, instant recognition. But that kind of success is fragile. It crumbles because it's not supported by structure. Think about someone who suddenly makes a lot of money but has no financial discipline, no structure for saving or investing. What happens? They lose it all. Or someone who gets sudden fame but has no personal structure, no discipline to handle the pressure. What happens? They collapse under the weight. Success without structure is temporary. Success with structure is permanent. Building structure means creating systems that keep producing even when you're not watching. It's about building habits that run on autopilot, routines that sustain you, strategies that continue to work when life gets hard. Think about the difference between a spark and a fire. A spark is exciting, but it burns out quickly. A fire, built with structure, logs carefully placed, airflow managed, burns long and steady. Too many people are living like sparks, burning bright for a moment, then disappearing. But those who embrace structure build fires that keep burning, warming others, lighting the way, lasting through the storms. Structure also protects your vision. Without structure, your dream can be stolen, diluted, or destroyed by distraction. But with structure, you put boundaries around it. You create a foundation strong enough to withstand setbacks, strong enough to carry the weight of growth. When you have structure, you're not just building for yourself. You're building for those who will come after you. You're creating something that others can step into, something that can outlive your individual efforts. That's legacy. Think about the greatest companies in the world. The founders may be gone, but the structure they build, systems, processes, cultures, keeps the company alive and thriving. The same principle applies to families. A family with no structure falls apart from generation to generation. But a family built on structured values, routines, and principles passes on strength. That's why structure isn't just about you. It's about the people who come after you. It's about building something that doesn't end when you do. And here's the truth. Building structure takes time. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting in the beginning. It means showing up every day, laying brick by brick, creating order where others want shortcuts. That's why so many people never build anything lasting. They're chasing instant results. But structure requires patience, and patience is the price of legacy. If you want something that lasts, you must be willing to endure the slow, steady process of building. The beauty of structure is that once it's built, it continues to work for you. Habits, systems, routine, they compound over time. The discipline you create today becomes a freedom you enjoy tomorrow. The systems you build today become the engine that carries your dream forward. When you build structure, you're not just working for one win, you're creating a lifestyle of winning. This is why you can't just aim for success. You must aim for sustainability. Don't just ask, how can I win today? Hey, how can I build something that wins every day? Don't just ask, how can I achieve my dream? Ask, how can I create a structure that makes achieving dreams inevitable? That shift in mindset transforms you from someone who chases success into someone who sustains it. Think about the farm. A farmer doesn't plant seeds randomly and hope. They create structure, rows, spacing, irrigation, timing. That structure ensures the harvest comes year after year. If they plant without structure, they may get lucky once, but the soil won't keep producing. Structure guarantees results. The same is true for your life. Without structure, you might win once, but you'll struggle to repeat it.